Shabbos, stay tuned. There's a Gavaldiga podcast. Rabbi Steve Geller does a Gavaldiga Zach, and that'll be coming out this week. Torah Giants on Chumash. Shalom Uvrach, and welcome to the weekly piece on the Parsha from Torah Giants on Chumash, written by Rabbi Yitzchak Meir Goodman, the Rabbi Emeritus of Yemizrach Rockaway. Sit back and enjoy.
Welcome to Torah Giants on Chumash. I'm Steve Geller. Rabbi Goodman is famous for saying to the effect that he never felt an unsatisfying answer to a good question should be the final word. I can't say it exactly the way he says it because I totally lack his unique charm. This week, we see another example of a good question with a one-word answer that too many of us think represents the real meaning. So in our new book of Vayikra, the last letter of the very first word of the entire book is written smaller than normal, obviously screaming for explanation. Why did Moshe write the Aleph of Vayikra small? The one-word answer we're all familiar with? Modesty. As he so often does, Rabbi Goodman blows the lid on this amazing question that deserves a lot more color. Many Mefarshim, including the Baal HaTurim, have presented this idea that this tiny letter exemplifies the great modesty of Moshe, that he wanted to write Vayikar to make it sound like Hashem just happened upon Moshe, not that he called him out specifically. Moshe wanted it to be similar to how the Torah describes that Hashem met Bilam, as if by chance. In Bamidbar, the pasuk says, Vayikar Elokim el Bilam, and Hashem met Bilam. Hashem told him to write Vayikra, so in Moshe's humbleness he did, but he wrote the Aleph small. But this needs an explanation, because there are many exceptionally personal and individual episodes of Hashem singling out Moshe, including calling him to Har Sinai, for Moshe to express his humbleness. But why here, and why with an Aleph? To answer this, Rabbi Goodman brings us the great Kabbalist of Krakow, Rav Nosson Nutta Spira, known by the title of his work, Megala Amukos, who's known to have written a manuscript with 1,000 interpretations of this very small Aleph. The Chida and others testify in their writings that they saw the manuscript with the 1,000 explanations, but apparently it was either destroyed or hidden away. A 1977 reprinting of Megala Amukos on the Torah does contain 84 of his interpretations, but many are very Kabbalistic or extremely difficult to follow. The following is an example of an easier one. There's a well-known expression in Midrashic literature that Moshe contained within himself 1,000 generations. In Koheles, the expression, I found one man of 1,000. The Megala Amukos quotes a midrash that one man, this is Moshe, of 1,000 implies that he was composed of 1,000 generations. In fact, in Tehillim, David says he remembered his covenant forever, the word he commanded to 1,000 generations. The root spelling of Le'elef Dor, 1,000 generations, has the numerical value of 345, which is the same as the numerical value of Moshe, 345. So now, the word he commanded to 1,000 generations can be understood as the word he commanded to Moshe. Just beautiful. Rabbi Goodman goes even deeper. Now, if we realize that the word Yikar is the root for splendor and glory, we may now interpret our pasuk as follows. Hashem gave glory to Moshe, and the added Aleph, which can also be viewed as Aleph, which is Hebrew for 1,000. So by adding the Aleph, Hashem was making Moshe equal to 1,000 generations. Just amazing. But there's more. Now when we combine the Baal HaTurim's comment with this one, we now have a greater understanding that Moshe diminishing the Aleph was indeed done out of his humility. As Aleph is equal to 1,000 generations, how appropriate is it that we find Moshe blessing the people with this number in Devarim? May Hashem add to you 1,000 times. And right now, we're once again honored to have my Rav, the holy HaRav Eytan Feiner Shlita, to give us even more color on this beautiful piece.
Let's talk Megala Amukos, or Siyata D'Shmai. I'm here with the Chashva of Steve Geller with this unbelievable podcast. Mora Rabbi Sa, you are in for a sweet treat. It is dripping with chocolate fudge. This is Megala Amukos, one of my favorite Mekubalim. I'm Nosson Nutta Shapiro, so Steve shared with you. Just want to be Mosif. Mora Rabbi Sa, just one little nakuda. The same way Rabbi Goodman mentions Aleph, you can't ignore that obvious correlation between what? Aleph, the first letter in the Aleph base that has a Hebrew numerical equivalent in the world of Gematria of 1, and that's Achdusa Yisbarach, that represents Hashem, who is in the Medrash Osius Rabbi Kiva, and various places throughout. Chazali is called Aleph Shalom, the Aleph of the world. Everything began with Hashem, the Aleph of the world. That's why the Bnei Yissaschar know this, right? An Aleph is comprised of what? A Vav in the middle, a Yud on top, and a Yud on bottom. Gematria 26, 2 Yuds and a Vav. Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem's essential name. Yud Kei Vav Kei 26. Hashem's the Aleph of the world. Everything in the mundane, materialistic world created outside of God, the Almighty above, and thus Torah begins with the Bereshis, because it was the base outside of the Aleph. Hashem is the Aleph of the world, and the idea is, as a Moshe Shapiro and others explain, we take everything in the world and we bring it back to its source. So Aleph, 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 what's going on over here? 1,000 is Aleph, and we have 1,000 interpretations of the little Aleph, clear correlation, association. Aleph, Aleph, nothing's coincidental, and you bet it's not. So with Siyata D'Shmayim, you're going to share with you a precious gem, a diamond. You're going to keep it in your pocket for years to come. And this is a diamond shared by the Chasam Sofer in Chidushim and Chulin in the Tshuvas Chadashos. This is by Rav Tzadok Cohen in the Sefer Kometz HaMincha, and the Bnei Yisrael, the Din of Rebbe is Mamori Shabbos, Samayim Medalin Nos Gimel, and a Chanukah Mamay Rabbi Yosef Yud Ches. Listen to this gem. You got a Bnei Yisrael Chasidish Shul, you got the Chasam Sofer, you got Rav Tzadok Cohen, all these three Gedolim. Let's go ahead and understand. We know the world was created. Hashem Estalka B'Reisa Barama. God looked into the Torah and He created the world using the 22 letters of the Aleph base. We had just recently the Asiyas B'niyas HaMishkan Ayidei B'Tzalel. You needed a young Mekubal B'Tzalel, Brachos and Hayam and Aleph, who was Yodei Hayi B'Tzalel. That Sarif Ben Asa'osio Sheben Nivru Shemayim and all the world created using the 22 letters of the Aleph base. So explains the Chasam Sofer Tzadok Cohen Bnei Yissaschar as follows. Chevra, don't lose me here. Hold on to your seatbelts, because listen to this one. We take the largest number in the single digits. That's the tes, number 9. Take the largest equivalent in the tens. We have in the Aleph base, singles, the tens and the hundreds. Largest in the singles is the tes 9. Largest in the tens is the tzadi, which is 90. Largest in the hundreds, it's not tough, which is 400, because we have the osio sophios, the end letters. A chav sofit is 500. A mem sofit 600, until you get the tzadi sofit. Tzadi sofit is 900. It's a value of 900. So we got tes 9, we got tzadi 90, and we got tzadi Sofit 900, so we got 999. Explains the Chasam Sofer of Tzadok, the largest number we could create, being Metzaref, all the different forms of counting, is the 9, the 90, and 900. That's 999. That means everything in this world is 999. When you get to 1,000, that means you leave this world. How do you get to 1,000? You add an Aleph to 999. You add 1 to 999, and you create Aleph. What's going on, Aleph? You left this world exactly. You left this world, the Ma'alim V'Natzava, and you went to God's world, who is called the Aleph, the Alufa Shalom. You add a little Aleph to 999. You get to Aleph. You get to 1,000. You left this world, and now you're connected to Alufa Shalom, to the big Aleph of the world, Hashem. Aleph. Yud on top, Yud on bottom, Vav in the middle, Gematria 26, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem the Aluf, the master, the chief of the world. Add just a little Aleph to the 999. Leave this world, connect to Shemay Shemaim, the world above. You add an Aleph to 999, you create Aleph 1,000, you go back to the big Aleph of the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Melech Malach, all started by, Megala Mukas, one little letter, 1,000 different Pirushim, one little Aleph, Aleph. Rabbi say that's the vast profundity of Torah Seinu HaKadosh. Enjoy it, sweet, sweet.
Just an overwhelming understanding of that single letter that Rabbi Goodman and Rav Feiner turned into a gold mine of depth and understanding. So now, of course, we can't keep this to ourselves. We have to overcome our humbleness by liking this video, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and most importantly, hitting the share button and pasting the link to this video into emails, Facebook, texts, WhatsApp groups, or your social media of choice. Everyone you know is waiting for a more satisfying understanding of this tiny Aleph, and they will all thank you for it.
We go to yeshiva to learn, that's Torah. We seek closeness to Gedolim, that's Torah. We daven for inspiration and v'sein chalkeinu b'sorasecha, that's Torah. We come up with chidushim in our own learning, that's Torah. Maybe. Share your chidushim. Send your original Torah pieces to torahmaybe@gmail.com or email that address for more information. Also visit www.youtube.com/@torahmaybe.